All of the art of the world and all of the sounds in the world have a place because of who we are as human beings. And the more human we are, the more we get in touch with that. And that to me is truly inspiring, always. It shouldn't just be music that influences and inspires us. When I'm not here in my studio, I go to museums and I am more moved by what painters and sculptors and photographers do. I'm not as much of a reader as my wife is, but I've learned because I wrote a book how painful it is to write a book, and anybody who sits down to even try to do it, the people who do that and do it well are truly inspiring because I spent years deeply in the world of choreography and dance. And the first thing I learned is that dancers and choreographers don't listen to music the way musicians listen to music. When dancers and choreographers said, well, we think in phrases based on our bodies. They think of weight. Things get heavy or things get light. They think in terms of velocity. Things are either going faster, going slower, starting or stopping. How music and the body go together, nature. And sitting in front of a computer with a blank screen, that's just, hey Jeff, get your act together. You have to get something going. Going for walks, going for hikes, being in nature, finding quiet is pretty amazing. I had the pleasure of spending time with Laurie Anderson, an artist whose music also completely blew my mind. She invited me over to her house many years ago. I noticed that she had this one room that was empty. It had no art, it had no furniture, nothing. And it was the room that she used to think. No distractions, no visual cues, no visual stimulus. That is amazing. What a great thing to have this blank room before sitting down to a musical instrument or a piece of technology or a DAW or any of those things. Another non-musical inspiration is meditators, yogis, gurus. I spend a lot of time with these people. For them, music is not about notes and any of that. It's about a link between the mind and the sound when we make no sound and what we hear. Chanting and mantras and repetition. I mean, minimalists get repetition, sure, but when you get into other spiritual music, chanting is about quieting your brain. You repeat a simple musical phrase again and again and again. Every time it's different, but eventually you have to sort of let go and just let it overtake. You find it in African music, you find it in India. It literally rewires your brain. I had the wonderful opportunity to spend a couple of years working directly with Philip Glass. And Philip, as much as anybody, understood the power of playing something again and again and again. And just at the point you think you're going to go absolutely stark raving crazy, it changes. There's a number of animals whose eyesight, they can't see objects, they can only see movement. And I think that's actually something that is truly present in the way our brains work. Patterns, repetition, and ambience in all kinds of music. All of the art of the world and all of the sounds in the world have a place because of who we are as human beings. And the more human we are, the more we get in touch with that. And that to me is truly inspiring, always. I do get asked about writer's block a lot. If you take that more experimental approach to making music as a precursor to composing music, then there is no writer's block. Drop a shoe on a synthesizer keyboard and where's the writer's block there? Not to be flip about it, but I think if you start with too much intent, yeah, you're gonna get writer's block. For me, writer's block comes when you're trying to be a little too cool, a little too prepared. I believe that every artist has the art in them. We all have different ways of letting it out. And we all have different processes. No two work the same. So the minute you try to imitate, well, this is the way Hans Zimmer does it, or this is how Alexander Desplat does it, or this is how Taylor Swift does it, you're handcuffing your inner artist. Don't worry about starting with. Just start. Believe me, the minute you play something better than nothing, you should be off to the races at that point. And with all the record producers that I've worked with and all the electronic musicians and everybody, they've all learned from somebody else. They've all been mentored or inspired, or most of us have to, at some level, have to be self-taught. But nobody's self-inspired. Nobody is self-inspired. No matter how unique your art is, something came from the past, even if it's unintentional. The more you liberate your inner musician, the less you have to be worried about, God, I hope I get this right, which isn't that really another way of saying writer's block?